Hey there! You're listening to Those Real Estate Brothers podcast, where Joseph and Jared share what they know in real estate and all things local, including local restaurants, businesses, and cool stuff. Which brother is more interesting? Well, you're about to find out.
All right.
There you go, Matthew.
Were you about to do Gary? Hello.
No, I do the hello a lot.
So, what is this, number 3?
Yes.
We have our first guest we're really excited about, and we chose our first guest by design, okay? You were picked as our first guest, and Joseph, let's do the grand introduction.
So here we have a man of many hats, Dave Saul of Marketing Masters. We know he's the Farmingdale Chamber of Commerce board member. We know you're the PR person for the Village of Farmingdale, PR and marketing, right?
Right.
You are the guitarist and manager of Electric Dudes.
And other bands, yeah.
How do you like to say, what is it, the number one?
The number one party band on the planet Earth.
Okay, there you go.
I want to say here.
And Marketing Masters marketing company, right? You and your team run that. And we like to call him what, Jared?
Mr. Farmingdale. And there's also something else that we have to call him. He's that guy a lot of Farmingdale residents see all the time but have no idea who it is. So
who's that guy with the crazy hair and the hat?
That is unbelievably accurate. You've got me down.
So those people are about to find out a little bit about you. We're excited to have you on, so thank you.
I'm very excited to be here. I'm going to jump in and do a quick plug for both these guys. I've worked with them on many different fronts. They are the best of the best at real estate and all things real estate and mortgage and helping with your real estate project in every way. And in addition to that, they have a business on Main Street, which means Main Street Farmingdale Village, which means I'm their advocate. And, of course, they are Farmingdale Chamber of Commerce members. And to my left is Joe El Presidente.
One of the reasons we wanted you on as the first guest is, you're coined Mr. Farmingdale. And this podcast is kind of for real estate, but also all things local. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it was by design bringing you on.
Also, you're a marketing person, so you'll help share all the
undoubtedly.
Podcasts. So, tell us about Marketing Masters, because that's how you pay the bills. Tell us, what does that firm do? What do you do for a living?
I worked on Madison Avenue for 20 years in a giant advertising situation, an agency. My job was basically to evaluate what we were doing for the world's biggest clients. And when the recession came, everybody was getting canned, honestly. And my ego couldn't accept it. I knew I'd be the last guy standing because the clients loved me. So I got advice, and the advice was to start consulting and, riding out the recession, so to speak. And so I didn't really know what that meant, or what to do. But I told a close friend, Walter Priestley, that I was going to do that over dinner, and he hired me on the spot to be his part-time marketer. And I was taken aback because he didn't know what I did. I didn't even know what I was going to do. But he said, "This is what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on SEO and getting our company out there." And as I do, I nodded like done, but I didn't really know anything about that.
You figured it out.
It wasn't what I did at the agency. So I quickly, in Dave fashion, learned how to do that. We started using Google AdWords, as it was called then. And
now that was probably before it got very popular too.
Yeah.
You were ahead of the time.
It
with
was,
the Google AdWords.
They were kind of like a year or two old then. I'm going to guess maybe that was 2008. And it was very kind of like rocket science, and they had more help then. They weren't as huge. So we had people on the phone. Walter and I learned it together, but I was determined to make him not regret doing this for me. So over the course of, I want to say, a year or so, I'm sure he's going to be listening to this. Hi, Walter. I'd like to think that we doubled his business in that time, using that and other methods. And when this was going on, I really intended to get another high-paying VP job in Manhattan, but that wasn't the nature of the game at that time. And what did happen was other people started calling me for marketing, and the more clients I took, the more we grew. I got tired of calling it Dave Marketing, David Saul Marketing, so we incorporated it as a company called Marketing Masters NY, www.marketingmastersny.com, and right away we saw that every client had a different need. I'm sure in real estate you deal with the same kind of thing. So, as is my nature, and what I always thought was frankly dumb about the competition, instead of saying we do this, we do that, I really learned to do whatever they wanted, and that was quite a task. But it evolved into social media, email marketing,
Video work,
press releases, all a lot of SEO using Google AdWords, harnessing whatever the internet had to offer.
You know, there's such a need for that because small business owners are good what they're good at, right? Roofers are good at roofing. Chiropractors are good at chiropractor,
Right.
if that's even a word.
cracking your back.
But a lot of people try to wear all those hats, pardon the pun with you.
Yeah, I wear a hat.
But
Top
those
hat.
business owners need to do what they're good at, and marketing is a whole different another business. You have to specialize in that to do it properly, right?
It also sounds a lot. Your story reminds me a lot of most realtors' stories, right? I had a job, things were good, always thought about maybe doing something different, and then one day they forced it upon me, either through a layoff or whatever. And I think in one of our conversations, you talked about how it also you felt had to do with your age. That somebody said, "Look, at your age, it's not so easy to get a job."
I should point out and give them credit that my wife at that time, we had flourishing careers. We were making more than I ever thought we would. And suddenly she was laid off and I had left. So we went from that to basically nothing. And I went there to collect unemployment, which I had never done. And they said, you quit. You can't collect. So I couldn't understand how we were doing so great and a week later, you know. So I learned to think quick on my feet, and we were doing everything. And yeah, we just started doing this, and we got this advice, and it was just, incredible.
Brought you here.
It sounds like the movie Jerry Maguire. You quit. Was it a big scene when you quit?
I am Jerry Maguire. It was, well, I don't want to make this all about me, but what happened, it's kind of a funny story, and I'm sure some of my friends are watching this. It was right before the recession, so I went in there to, a companion who I worked with, who was my boss at an unbelievable company, and they said, the company's changed, Dave, you're right. If you could, there's always a place for you here, but if you really feel uncomfortable, which obviously I did, and she slid a piece of paper across a desk, and I'm like, I just was never a quitter or anything, and I saw it said severance, and I looked at it, and it was basically 6 months to a year severance, and I was trying to pretend I was very upset, and I'm like, so I get this for leaving, in other words. She's like, so I hit Madison Avenue dancing like a guy in a movie, doing somersaults. I told Joanne, I called her, you're not going to believe what happened, buy a new car, everything is, but what I've learned an incredible amount doing this marketing is that a big company, a big conglomerate knows more than the little guy. Not is better or smarter, but they just have more knowledge. So they knew the recession was coming, and their answer to that, as I know you guys know from
Shed staff.
is shed staff, consolidate, sell.
And that's how a lot of people end up in this business. Then they get their first listing. Like you said, you got your first client, Dr. Priestley.
Yeah.
And then it was, oh, shoot, what do I do now? And you went and learned it. And you had a base. It wasn't like you had no idea. So talking about that, over the last, I don't know, however long you've been in the marketing business, obviously stuff has changed a lot from the beginning till now. What are some things that stand out to you that's like totally different now versus then?
That's a great question. The principles of marketing to me are the same, that you have to deliver. At the agency, our giant corporate clients were spending ungodly amounts of money, and you just couldn't believe it if you were me, humble Dave. But at the end of the day, the more that the internet took over and there were more ways to measure metrics, you were suddenly, accountable. Your company was accountable to what you were doing for that client. They could measure it in a million ways in sales. So the advertising, you had to be responsible to grow revenue. And with our small and medium clients now, which I'm much happier doing, it's really boils down to the same thing. That is a constant. They are, if you're not growing their business or delivering, why would they keep you? They do keep me, but
it's one of those things that's hard to quantify sometimes, right? With marketing,
it is.
You can't, if you're doing 3 or 4 different new things, it would be very hard to say, okay, this business is coming from this specific thing.
That's exactly right. And to answer your question, what has changed is that the velocity with the way new products come out is just crazy. All our clients, and I'm sure it's like this with the real estate business, they want you to harness and constantly search out what the latest marketing technique is. And that is probably something that is we're good at and is an accolade, but it's also undoubtedly our biggest challenge because you're constantly learning how to work new things and make them better. One story that comes into mind is when Facebook came out. I feel like I'm, not to sound like an egomaniac, but I'm a bit ahead of the curve. So Facebook comes out, I'm in a band. I'm using Facebook to promote my band. It's working. I thought I basically invented that. And so I went to some of our clients and said, I'm doing this. I think we could do this for your restaurant. And they laughed at me. Facebook's for college students and kids, Dave. We're a professional. We don't want any of that. 2 years later, they were, Dave, you were right. We should be doing this. Right. So what we do is we get a lot of these mediums offer certification. So we get certified in Google, certified in Facebook, and we try to stay ahead of the curve.
And that's what your clients are hiring you for, right? Same with real estate. They're hiring you because you're spending all of your available hours knowing your business, learning the new techniques, learning the new thing to go sell their product, for us to sell their house. And that's always been the case, right? That's why you outsource anything, because you feel there's a knowledge base out there that's better than yours. So you have a team, you have other people who work in your organization, and I'm sure that's a big part of what your day and your month is just making sure you're up to date on the newest products, the newest techniques.
I do. I have, I'm neurotically organized like anybody in my position has to be. So I have folders and folders within folders of all the new mediums, of all the marketing tools. We're sitting here in November. The new thing right now is TikTok. That's something new. And I learned a valuable lesson. I went to a client, I won't say who it is, but they had older, wealthy clients, customers, and younger, hard bodies. It was a club. And so I was so honored to work with them. And this is about, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago. Instagram had just come out. And at that time, you couldn't really use Instagram for marketing. It was made to be a separate thing from where your parents were.
Right.
So they didn't want that.
Right.
And, I went to the client and they had mentioned it. And I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. And I went there with a whole speech prepared to say, this is kind of a pain in the neck. It's very labor intensive. I don't think this is for us. And I sat down with the owners and they said, Dave, this year, we want you to focus on Instagram. So I just folded the paper up and said, I'm on board, absolutely. And, now it's a big tool. But what we find is in marketing, as soon as something is really delivering and everybody's on it, somebody always wants to create the next thing.
Of course,
right? Yeah. And it's good and bad. It's more good. It's good for the clients. It's just a challenge for somebody like me. And for anybody listening, we don't run from that. We embrace it.
No, you're on top of it all. So with real estate, the way our sellers can track our results is by how many people they see walk in the door,
Right.
whether it's from open houses or from showings. I think for your small clients, that's probably the way it works too. If the phone's ringing, you get the credit. If the phone's not ringing, you don't, right? You get the blame.
That's exactly right. It's kind of like, I think as any marketer is going to tell you, if you're doing well, if they're doing well, very often you don't hear anything. You don't need a pat on the back. You want to just, I really want to deliver for our clients. That's my mission, and it always has been. But you more hear things if you hear from them when things slow down or something new happens. So it is quantifiable measurements to a degree. With restaurants, it's really about the traffic coming in. With healthcare people, it's the number of patients. But we're all across the board with all kinds of clients. Farmingdale Village, best village on Long Island.
Voted. Which I know you have a
big.
big part of getting that voted as number one.
It's our biggest client, certainly. And what happened with that is they came to me. I'm proud that all our clients have come to us, and they wanted us to, or not audition, that's the music. They wanted us to pitch our services. And so we did in Village Hall, and I took it incredibly seriously. It was an honor to just do that. So we presented right down the block from where we are now to the Board of Trustees. It's an open forum, so there were people of the public there.
Right.
And they're like, this guy rocks. So I was trying to be corporate Dave, but they brought us on board for a trial basis. But I will never forget, and for everybody watching, we are in Farmingdale Village right now. What they said was, we want somebody to help us get the great word of what we're doing here in the village and our businesses are doing out in the media and increase walkability. And at that time, I hadn't really heard that term as much.
Walkability?
Walkability. And as anybody who comes to Farmingdale Village is going to tell you, there's walkability now.
Yep.
I'm not taking credit for it. Merchants in the village get the credit, but we go on patrol and walk up and down Main Street and look at the businesses, and we see everybody walking and smiling, and I never forget that. It warms my heart to see how we've all as a team executed what the challenge was.
You also had a video series with the mayor, right? Talk about that a little bit.
I try to think outside the box, and so we invented that,
What was that called?
the Mayor on Main.
That's right.
So we created a YouTube.
How'd you come up with that name?
It took you hours to figure out
It
that
took me
name.
hours. It was just, it was something that we did around the holidays. It was my idea because we started using, here's a Dave trick, Dave's secret. It's not a secret anymore, but YouTube is owned by Google. So if you're smart and you have a Dave, or you could do it yourself, you can use YouTube videos to harness your business. And there's even ways you can use the SEO of YouTube. And for everybody watching, here's a tip. What does it cost? Nothing. It just costs the time to create the video, as we are doing now, and this will undoubtedly be on YouTube.
And if a business owner doesn't know how to do it, or a mayor of a competing village, they could hire you to do it, couldn't they?
They can hire us to do it.
And it's not a lot of money. I mean, we're not going to get into it, but it's not a tremendous amount of money to do video on your own or to hire a company like you to do it. So you talked about the village doing the pitch, right? You had to go there and pitch the village. I think in your background, when you first were in marketing on Madison Avenue, the pitch was a big part of what you did, right?
Oh, you could not be more on target with that. We prepared, in those days, going to companies like Fidelity and Novartis, the world's biggest clients, we spent 2 or 3 weeks minimum preparing big PowerPoint presentations, and it really resonated amongst me. It's something that I was trained to do, but it kind of came naturally. And all my job reviews and report cards say Dave has this obsession to please people. And that's what really worked with the marketing and the clients. I would want to go there and wow the client and my boss and deliver. And how did we do that? It's just kind of what I've crafted, that we would go there and show the client that we knew their business, we knew their competitors. Nobody likes to talk about the competition, so you have to be careful there. And we had ideas, and we were open and to ways to do this, to what their needs were. And I still do that today. In those days, it's funny you say that, because when I started with my own company, this company, Marketing Masters NY, I would do that, and I would bring like a 15-point PowerPoint presentation on Weichert real estate, which I think we did.
Yes, you did.
And what I learned was the clients just stared at it, and they would be like, the potential clients, like, this is incredible, but it's way more than I'm prepared to digest. You know?
So walk me through. You have a new business that's interested. They're going to give you a call. I guess you need to kind of learn, one, what their business is, and two, what they're trying to accomplish. And then I guess there's a proposal that kind of follows that.
Yeah, I've learned to simplify the proposals down, because the clients are, it was hard for them, these kind of clients, to digest all that. And we're not on Madison Avenue dealing with a board of,
I guess they're not interested in knowing that.
Yeah,
it was edit a video. You're going to do tags, and you're going to do SEO, and you're going to.
Yeah. They
don't want to hear that minutia. They just want to know.
Jared, we call that the feature dump, don't we? We talk a lot about a feature dump. Like, I'm going to sell your house by, and it's just like deer in the headlights. Like, oh my God, when is this guy going to stop talking? Because I can't even. I'm thinking about what I'm eating for dinner now, because
I'm sure at corporate conferences you're used to that as well. What I learned is that, and it just kind of came naturally, and I think any marketer that doesn't do it is making a mistake, or any business, is that you look to see industry news. So if we were going to see a client, this is consistent with what I did at the ad agency, what I do now, I would look and to see what's new in the industry, what they could relate to, and how we might be able to harness that to grow their business. Interest rates are at an all-time low, and if we can get the word out, Mr. Garcia, maybe that'll bring in.
That was true when you pitched us a couple of years ago. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Now it'd be interest rates are the highest they've ever been, and that's why you need me more than ever.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
So, you prepare for the pitch. You talked about that, how you really want to know and understand what the potential client's needs might be, what their challenges might be, both in the industry and in the marketing space, and then it's time to talk to them. How much of that time are you talking to them, and how much of that time are you trying to get them to talk?
Obviously, anybody watching or listening can see how verbose I am. It comes from playing on the stage, so I've learned to shut up and listen. But what we've also learned, the clients are all different. Some people really want to talk about their business. This has worked. I hated this company. I love this company. We want you to focus on this. Can you do this, Dave? That kind of thing.
Right.
And then you learn that other people just don't say much.
They're going to sit on their hands and keep quiet, and you have no idea if it's going well or not.
Right. They just nod, and, it sounds good. And then some of the clients, potential clients, are just so unbelievably versed in. I went to a dentist called me in once for a dental firm for Google SEO and those kind of things, social media, and he just went on and on and on about all the latest techniques, things that had just come out in Google ads that morning. And I didn't want to insult him, it's not my nature, but I wanted to be like, I frankly don't understand how you have time to do a cleaning and absorb all this information. But
even to the point of that dentist, he knows a lot of that stuff, but it's not worth his time to do marketing. It's worth his time to do those cavities and those crowns and those cleanings.
we have learned to adapt. I think that's part of our success, to the rhythm and the mentality of the client, and not force any preconceived.
We talk to our agents about it by, you have to prepare. Like when you're talking about pricing, right? Here's how much your house is worth. What a narcissistic thing that you're going to walk into someone's house, tell them what their house is going to sell for because you spent time reviewing comps. So you really got to be ready, because some people are very analytical, right, Jared? So they want to know, yeah, but what about the house down the block? And they know,
Right.
you know, that house had an extra bathroom that wasn't on the listing. They know more about it sometimes than the agent. So you have to be prepared for those people. But that's not your average person either. Your average person is going to listen to what you say, and if they buy into you, they'll believe what you said. So you go in, you say, this is my methodology, and here's what I came up with. So you got to keep it simple for most people, but be ready for that client, like the dentist, who almost knew maybe more about the new stuff in SEO than you did, because you were in the trenches and he was just, you know,
Right.
in the middle of researching it. And I think that's a lesson. Be prepared for the super analytical, the super detailed pitch, but don't expect that all the time.
I think also preparing, right? Being over prepared for a presentation.
I am that guy. I am over prepared.
You find yourself where you might not need to pull all those things out, right? All that stuff you prepared, you might not need to go there. But is it because you got an easier customer, or is it maybe just your demeanor the second you walked in is confidence and knowing everything that might come up, and that person might feel that confidence and not needs a question?
I think it's both. I think those are great points. And the more I hear you guys talk, I realize that you could do what I do. You are both severely great marketers, and your clients are obviously home buyers and home sellers. And I'm sure there's a varied degree of knowledge and involvement that they have.
Real estate is actually, running a brokerage is actually, we're a marketing company.
Yeah.
We're a marketing company for our brokerage. We're a marketing company for our agents. That's why we're able to spend time, because we see that, we recognize that's what we actually are. Yes, we sell houses and it's a customer service thing, but that's more for the agents to do. Us as the leaders of the organization, we're the marketers. So we have time to do it. But if I was doing dental cleanings, or if I was painting houses, you don't have time to do the SEO, the video, the podcast studio, and all that. You know, so that's, you got to know what you're good at and what you should focus your time on, and then outsource everything else, don't you?
And also what you like to do, right? If you are the best teeth cleaner in the entire world and you absolutely hate doing it, is that good use of your time? Probably not, because if your heart's not into it, you're not gonna excel in it.
I could totally relate to that. There are certain things that we do sub out because people that are in our marketing world can do them faster and better, and it's more expeditious and more cost effective. And what you said earlier about preparation, I can relate to that too. I learned that on Madison Avenue, and I learned that with our clients. When you go to see a client, or you're doing any kind of marketing, if you are over prepared, that's a good word, I'm going to steal that. If you're incredibly prepared, you just have this feeling of confidence.
You're walking in like Superman.
Yeah. I guess I do walk out like Superman or Clark Kent.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say Slash. But
like Slash. You feel like, and it probably comes from playing music where they, as an entertainer, they throw things out. But as you both know, dealing with real estate clients, it's not uncommon for somebody to throw something at you that you weren't expecting
Every day.
And it's when you can just not fire back, but give them a series of answers or alternatives. It kind of you see it in their face that they're like, wow, you know.
You know, when you're dealing with something scary, and a business with declining or not enough sales would be scary. A seller who needs to sell their house because, you know, they lost a job or they don't like who won an election or whatever is scary. Like, oh my goodness, I have to do this and it's got to go well, or I don't know what my backup plan is. You want to turn to somebody who seems like they have all the answers. We were talking about it in I think the last podcast. If you're thinking about selling your house and the agent comes in and says, man, the market's terrible, it's really scary, things are bad, and the next one, a Weichert agent, comes in and says, things are different and they're challenging, but we know what to do and we know how to handle it. We know 1 in 4 houses is going to sell at or over asking price, and we have a plan to make this all work perfectly for you. Which realtor are you going to feel more comfortable with? Which marketer are you going to feel more comfortable with when they come in and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to pay this guy, I'm not sure, $500, $600, $700, $800 $1,000 a month, and I barely have enough to get by now, but that's why I need the marketing. Which one do you want to go with? The one that says, yeah, I don't know, market's bad. The economy's crashing, it's scary. Or the one that says, there's some new cool ways we could try to make this work for you.
I can relate to that very much as well. I'm known as being the euphemistic positive guy. It's helped me my whole life, my whole career. And I've had most, if not all of the clients say that, like, Dave, you're bouncing off the walls. You're so positive. Is this an act? And it's really not an act.
You can't fake that.
Yeah, I'm
not for long. No. You could maybe fake it for a few months, and then you'd never see Dave again. He'd be,
right,
stuck in his basement.
I am the guy looking at the glass is half full. There is a way to sell that house. There is a way to find your dream home. There is a way to elevate your business, your restaurant, bring people to your Farmingdale village. And a lot of it boils down to having that positive attitude instead of being the naysayer. And I think being creative, having creative solutions, they all depend on me for that.
Well, they're outsourcing creativity, right?
Right.
You're an entrepreneur or you're a manager or you're a technician. So, your mechanic might just be a technician. Someone who's a manager may be able to run the business really well. And then you have entrepreneurs who are the idea men. So every business owner is going to kind of fall into one of those three categories where that's their strong suit. If you're a manager or a technician, the creativity part, you got to bring somebody in for that because you're going to be so focused on running the day-to-day. So, that's where I think why a lot of people will turn to someone like you. And you want that person to be exciting and creative, not boring and, drab.
They do. We've had clients where they seem very enthusiastic to talk to me, and then I meet with them, and it seems like they have everything in line. They're doing well. You were a client like that.
Yeah.
like they're already at a 9, but they bring me in because they don't want to leave any stone unturned. I think they're thinking Dave is going to think of the one thing that we haven't thought of.
Right.
And so I make a Mayor on Main video. I think of something to do that.
And it's you have clients, it's probably similar to like a collaboration where, you're doing everything, you're bringing ideas, but you might learn something or get a new idea from your clients. I mean, me and Joseph, we work together, obviously, and he mentioned, in a sense, we're a marketing company. Even when you know the answer, sometimes it's nice to say it out loud in front of somebody.
I do, and they do collaborate, depending on the client, but it's not uncommon for, especially the restaurants, and all of them really, they're watching the competition, if they're smart, I think, and I get that on a daily basis from them all. We saw this guy doing this, what do you think of that? Or more often, why aren't we doing that?
There's a real estate term, R&D.
Yeah.
Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need someone whose job it is to do that, though. Yeah. Everybody knows I should make a video and put it on YouTube. Number one, nobody likes the way they sound on tape, and nobody likes the way they look on video. Number two, you got to spend 15 minutes doing some sort of video, and any video is better than no video. Just put it up there. It's okay. But at the end of the day, we get stuck in our day-to-day, don't we? So sometimes you need someone who makes the appointment. I know that's a lot of what you do. Okay, on these days, I'm going to be coming in. We're going to film a 5-minute video. Oh, crap. Dave walked in. We got to do a video. Hurry up. Brush your hair. But at least it's going to get done, and now it has to get done because you showed up.
That's exactly on the mark. We were trying to wow our clients, I guess, like 6-7 years ago. What can we do that we haven't done? So what we did was I had this concept, this idea that we would go from client to client and film a holiday video, Happy Holidays from the Weichert brothers. And we would edit it and use it on social media. And
Some of those clients were not used to being filmed, right?
You beat me to it. Some of them I learned a lot, and I'd walk in and they'd be like, I'm not wearing the right shirt. I'm not ready for this, Dave. So
They were hyperventilating during breakfast.
But there were clients who loved it, and we really just tried it on 2 or 3 main clients. And what I learned is every client saw that we were doing that and wanted it.
It's visible, right? Because I could see you're doing that now.
Yeah, and different at it. I would show up with all kinds. I'm Dave, so I would show up with all kinds of garb and Santa hats, and some of them would be like, they'd love it, and others, would be like, I'm not wearing that. But
I feel like I would be that person. But I'm not wearing that.
We got made fun of at the last convention. Anybody here who whatever, raise your hand. Whatever, raise your hand. And at one point, the president of Weichert looked over, and Jared and I were just sitting there without our hands raised up, and and he said, "What's going on? What's wrong with you two?" I think he.
Hey, Garcia brothers.
Yeah, called us out in front of 350 people, and we said, "Well, we just don't like participating. We're not fun."
Everybody's different, but listen, you're talking about being inventive, rising to the needs of creating new ideas. I know these 2 real estate gurus in my town who created a podcast, and here we are. And that's an example of everything I'm saying.
Throw it all at the wall. Hope people notice. Yeah. It's got to be based on a foundation of a good business, right? If you're a terrible plumber, no amount of marketing in the world is gonna fix that. So, I know we're a good brokerage, and we want people to know it.
We all know that, by the way.
And I think part of it is we have a duty to make sure our future customers and clients know we exist, because we're going to do a better job than 99% of our competitors. So we owe it to our future seller to get their listing, because we're going to get them more money, less stress, higher net than most of these other realtors out there. And that's how I think a lot of small business really need to look at marketing, which is, I'm the best painter, I'm the best chiropractor, I'm the best plumber, and I owe it to my town to make sure they know it too, because if not, they're going to hire the wrong people.
I think that's exactly right. And let me do a quick plug. You're very gracious to have me here and to educate your viewer on all these marketing tools. But I'm going to say that I have worked with these guys. They are the best. They do deliver. And I'm a lucky guy because of our clients and people, our associates like this. I'm in a pool where I'm surrounded by great business people. It's also a challenge because they're all so great. How do you, keep them all up there? But it's a really great environment to work in and be in.
Dave, we're in Farmingdale. You're Mr. Farmingdale. Kind of like to end all our podcasts with, what's your favorite experience? What's your favorite place that you've been to in Farmingdale over the last week or so? What stood out to you?
Oh boy, I'll get shot if I. Anyway, well, I'll do a plug for Farmingdale Village. Let me do a plug for all our clients. If you go to our website, Marketing Masters NY, you'll see them all. They're the best of the best. I believe in them all. It's not me. It's me just sharing their greatness. And our biggest client is obviously Farmingdale Village. Is just filled with thriving businesses. Farmingdale Village was voted best village on best downtown on Long Island 7 times, and I've been here 10 years. And many of the businesses in Farmingdale Village, not all of them, well, many of them have also been nominated and voted best businesses. We have such a variety of activities and restaurants, and there's always...
So you're not going to give us an answer. You're being diplomatic.
What was the last meal you had on Main Street? Or Farmingdale, I should say.
I rotated our newest business. I'll show you how I roll. 48 hours ago, we shook hands with Necromantic, I hope I said that right, Brewing. Yep. They just opened the door.
Gluten-free brewery, the only one on the East Coast.
How's the beer? Did you have it yet?
I went there with my wife, and I turned around, and there she is pounding shots of gluten beer.
I think a business meeting at a brewery with a brewer. Next. I think you're allowed to drink during that business meeting. Sure.
Yeah, it was. But there are such great options. We have. We're known as trademarked as the culinary quarter.
Yep.
So that's right there. And
All right. So Necromantic Brewery, people should check that out. Check out the gluten-free beer. I'm going to answer for you.
I'm not letting him off. What was the last meal you had in Farmingdale?
It was Cara. He eats there either there or Palmer's every other day.
Palmer's, excellent. Cara, excellent. Those are...
What's your favorite meal at Cara? I'm going to make this easy. What do you like to get there?
He's trying to prove me that I know what I'm not just BSing. Polo Roleno.
I like that one a lot. That's the cream sauce, right?
Exactly.
Like the tequila cream. That's the best meal they have there.
But
they're all good.
But even if they're not my clients, my marketing clients, I believe in all the restaurants. We have such a wealth of great restaurants like Vespa 317. I'm a little nervous about naming some because I'm going to leave. There's so many great ones. I'm going to leave somebody.
So I'm going to jump out. We finally got it. The best meal on Main Street right now is the chicken at Cara. One of the best meals.
You put those words.
Yeah, that's all right.
You twisted them a little bit.
They're all good. They're all good.
Jared, over the last week, what'd you like?
So believe it or not, over the last week, I have not eaten out anywhere, and I've been trying to eat healthy. So unfortunately, I don't.
Where's your favorite coffee then?
My favorite coffee, Elise's Nieces. I really like going back there. It's really beautiful back there. They got the fire going now.
I've played there.
Yeah, recently, just over the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I think it was a Friday, right?
It was wonderful.
So every Friday they do something at Cobb's Corner. I forget what it's called, but basically an event on Cobb's Bar Corner.
They've
Cobb's Corner Bar, maybe.
It's an example of everything we've just spoken about. They've taken a business, kind of like an antique store business that was already thriving, and they just keep making it better and better.
Which I can't say enough good things about all of them. That whole family is just special.
And they open a back area.
It looks like a winery back there.
Yeah,
it belongs in Jamesport, and it's right here in downtown Farmingdale.
So we have a Weichert company employee that lives in Jersey, and every time he comes here, he wants to go back there. We met for a cup of coffee one day, and he still talks about it. I think he's like the biggest advocate for them all over the country because he's traveling all over and talking about Farmingdale, New York, Elise's Nieces Cafe.
And what's the front called? Back in time.
Back in time.
It's funny you say that because my accountant comes to do our taxes once a year from Jersey, and I bring him to certain things that I know will pique his interest, like Jim Stogie's is a big cigar guy, or an Italian place.
Is Tiago your accountant? Because that sounds like the guy we're talking about.
And he just keeps raving about it. And as he's coming here, can we go back to that place? And I'm like, yeah, if you deliver some more deductions.
So
build a podcast studio. You'll have some deductions.
Right.
My turn. We had a ribbon cutting at a gas station recently, and in the gas station is Taco and Gyro House or Gyro and Taco House.
Right.
I get that right? It's something like that.
Right.
It's on the corner of Heiser and 109, and I've eaten there about 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I get the Gyro salad. It's got some rice, some salad. It's kind of like a halal plate of gyro meat, but it's like the Turkish style, so a little bit different than the Greek style. And then we went on Monday, took the family to Haunted House of Hamburgers.
I haven't been there yet.
People have been kind of rough on it on social media, but when you open a Halloween restaurant the week before Halloween, you know there's going to be some long waits. We had really good burgers. Kids' meals were big. Lots of French fries. The fries were good. Onion rings were good. The inside of the restaurant's awesome. The outside is cool looking, and then you get inside, and it's awesome. So go there maybe on an off time. Don't go during dinner peak yet. I think they're still getting their sea legs, so to speak. But definitely go there for a drink or a bite to eat because the inside is, right down to, it was freezing cold. Bring a sweatshirt because we walk in and it feels like a haunted house. Like it's kind of spooky and drafty. And, really well themed. So Haunted House of Hamburgers, Gyro Taco House. That's been my past week.
We have it all here. Not to do a shameless plug, but I am. We have it all here in Farmingdale Village. You can walk right out as we walk out from where we are right now, and there's Whiskey Down Diner, there's Croxley's Ales.
Yeah,
there you go naming.
He's going through the list in his head.
Yeah.
So, Dave, if somebody wants to reach out to you, talk to you a little bit about marketing, consider hiring you, marketingmastersny.com, right?
Right, marketingmastersny.com. We're here to help you. Every single person that we're working with has come to us. I'm incredibly proud of that. I am like the shoemaker with his shoes. The only person I'm not marketing right now is me, but I feel like our clients are us, and that's how we like to roll.
Well, we're those real estate brothers. Work hard, be nice is the sign. Jared, you got any closing thoughts?
I don't. Thanks for coming. We're definitely going to have you on
Thanks so
again
much,
in
Dave.
the future.
Yeah, once we know what we're doing.
I'm the first guest. I just want that on the record.
Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to Those Real Estate Brothers with Joseph and Jared. Subscribe now to get updates on future episodes, and please share it with others. Want to connect? Message us on Google, Facebook, Instagram, or text. We'll see you next time. And remember to always work hard and be nice.